Well, well, well. We have had quite a struggle with the technical issues tonight, but you know what? We're not going to let that keep us down. Because it's still a good Tuesday night. Still don't have to work tomorrow. Hey, Silver Games. Gosh, it's a struggle tonight. I must say. This makes sounds that are a bit too sharp for this evening, I think. Thanks for trying to find the new stream as we struggle with some starts and stops tonight. So anybody who's interested in continue to hang around are more than welcome. Excuse me. So I wonder if we're going to have the same when we talk about barely handling the tea bag, right? A big pouch like this fights back a little bit more. It's a little bit stiffer, and so those sounds that you get by barely handling the tea bag, I don't know. I don't know if this one will be as sensitive to that sort of thing. Hey, thanks for subbing, Silver Games. I hope you like the style of my regular videos. They're not as fraught with technical issues as the stream tonight is. So what's the meaning behind Silver Games? Makes it sound like you're a game company or something. Hey, Cold Hunter. Thanks for coming back. Sorry about that mess. And you don't have to answer me, Silver Games, if it's none of my business, right? Just something that I thought of when I saw saw your username. This is the smallest of the strings, thickness-wise, diameter-wise. This is the G string on the bass. It would be the highest pitched string on a conventionally tuned 4 or 5 string bass. Hey Pocky, thanks for coming back. Man, sorry about all the hassles. Yeah, this has a different vibe than the Teabag. This is a little more of a deliberate. You can't quite get that same kind of almost absent-minded, effortless kind of sound, the Silver Soap kind of sound out of this kind of paper. So you want to be a game designer, Silver Games? Have you had any experience with that, like a game design class at school or anything? The schools these days have a lot more crazy variety in classes and subjects these days than they offered me when I was in school. I think my kids' school actually does have a game design class. School focuses on technology. Very good. That's outstanding. I know my son is feeling pulled toward a, telecommunications, filmmaking kind of a direction. Hello there, Elise. I don't think I've seen your username before. Thanks so much for being here. Internships. It's so funny that you mentioned that. I think I saw a rant on Twitter just today from a guy talking about how unpaid internships ought to be abolished or something like that. Yeah, we've got, I work at a kind of a larger defense contractor that will often have college-aged, we call them interns, but they're definitely paid positions. You're very welcome, Elise. Thank you for that very kind comment. Silver Games loves war games, huh? What's your favorite? Your go-to desert island war game? An ASMR game. What? Okay, so this is your chance to do some on-the-fly game design. What would an ASMR game entail, do you think? Flower a war game? Is that why you're suggesting that? Oh, you mean it's an ASMR like game? I gotcha. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow. Oh, you can actually get a little bit of a tapping sound by knocking these little guys against the bottom of the glass. Oh wow, that's a neat description. I might have to look into that flower game. That sounds neat. I wonder if this... I'm looking at this jar with all the things in it, and I wonder if I can make a video just where I'm sifting through this jar of writing utensils, trying to find just the right one. Only one will do. I'm very particular. I'm in a certain mood, and only the exactly right utensil will get the job done. All I have to do is find it. You can randomly go through and figure out. Maybe a couple of them I test drive scribbling on a piece of paper, and I discover no, that's not it at all. I thought that one would be the right one, but no, it's not. Why are none of these getting the job done? And I keep searching. That might be a fun little, kind of a short exploration to play with. Maybe if I switch the jar to the other side of the screen, I'll have better luck finding exactly the right utensil for my needs. Hey, thanks for being here, Pocky. Thanks for the math on the sub sandwich. That was very important. And thanks for being patient with the technical issues. You have a good night, okay? Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Although, this one is the closest. I'm a sucker for, all wood pencils that you sharpen versus the mechanical pencils. I used mechanical pencils a lot back in college, but I'm a sucker for a wood pencil with a lead in it. And this guy here is an A.W. Faber red lead pencil from Germany. So if I did do a video trying to find exactly the right utensil. I bet the one I would settle on at the end of the video would be a lead pencil of some sort. There's another lead pencil, but it is round in cross section. It has no flats on the body. Thanks for that email, Trevor. I'm very curious about what you have to tell me about the channel. You say it's something about the channel that will surprise me. Well, I'm very curious about what that might be. You know, I did a small item rummage video many months ago, and I must confess, the more I do this, the more I think this would be a really neat follow-up. Constantly searching for just the right utensil. I like the thought of having a really nice, tight close-up on the tops of these utensils as my fingers are kind of rifling through them. I'm a really big fan of close-ups in terms of getting the viewer immersed in the subject that you're talking about in the video, right? There's so many show and tell videos out there, and everybody's well-meaning, of course, but there's so many show and tell videos where they're trying to show you something small, but it's very far away. It's like over somebody's shoulder, you know? If you were face to face with somebody and you had a very small item, a coin or a button, and you wanted to show them what it was, and you gave it to them to look at, well, what's the first thing they would do with it? They would hold it up closer to their face to get a good look at it, right? I think ASMR videos ought to be the same way with small items. Get that thing close to the camera so that your viewer feels closer to the object that you're showing them. I think it's just more immersive, more captivating. It holds attention that much better, I think. Yeah, I've always kind of liked the idea of a kind of rummage video where, you know, I don't know if it's so much commentary, but kind of absent-minded, maybe frustrated comments, almost muttering, right? It's like, where is that? No, that's not it. It was yellow. I thought it was yellow. I can't find the yellow pencil. Where is that thing? These are all red and orange. I need the yellow one. I thought it was here. You know, that kind of muttery type stuff, bordering on unintelligible, whispering and stuff. Do it with screws. Yeah, screws would be a great topic too. screws in glass might be a little harsh. Maybe screws in a little wood bowl might be nice. You know, I was really apprehensive about the pencils in the jar, but this rummaging technique, I really, really like this. It's like, nope, it's not that one. Nope, not that one. Yeah, I might have to do something with this. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. Oh yeah, dice. I think I played with a bag of dice on one of my very first streams before I started using the phone. Thanks, Elise, for that comment. Let's see about the wooden bowl with the Scrabble pieces. Thanks, Trevor, for the comment about the Army Men video. It's so funny because you never know. It's one thing to have an idea and you think, well, this might make a good topic, and they don't always turn out necessarily the way you had it in your mind, right? I was kind of hot and cold on the Army Men thing. I really wanted to kind of have it as a framework or almost as an excuse to share some kind of memories about me and my brother when we were kids. And the dealing with the Army Men was almost meant to be kind of an absent-minded kind of backdrop, if you will, behind the memories about me and my brother. The first the first idea I had for that Army Men video was to actually take the Army Men slowly out of the box as I was talking and organizing them and lining them all up. And I eventually gave up on that, partly because the Army Men would take up the entire frame in the one little test that I did to see how much space they would take up. But then also I just did not have any faith that I'd be able to keep my mind on the topic about my brother if I was also trying to arrange and organize Army Men. So I just went with the fidgeting and the rummaging kind of an idea instead. I don't think it turned out too bad, so I appreciate the comment. But I never know how those things are going to go. But I also don't, I try not to worry about that or hand-wring too much about that kind of stuff. Because I'm a big fan of kind of the journey. Every video I try to take a crack at, teaches me something, even if it doesn't quite hit the mark. And I don't need every one of them to be exactly perfect in order to publish them, right? That's life. All of life is like that, and I'd rather put up the 80% solution and move on, rather than you know, never publish anything unless it's perfect, because I wouldn't even have a channel if that was the case. Yeah, I'm a big fan of dice in general. I don't have any crazy or exotic dice, but I definitely get a kick out of looking at them in stores and things. Trying to make sure none of these pieces fall out of the bowl. We don't want that sound, I don't think. Hey, Slight Sounds, thanks for coming back. We've had a lot of technical struggles tonight, so I appreciate your patience. Do I have marbles? Have I done a vid with some marbles? I know I have some marbles. Now I'm trying to think. I know I did some plastic beads in a stream once. Have I done anything with marbles? I don't think I've done a regular video with marbles, but I might have had them on a stream once. Oh, Cold Hunter with the good suggestion on the bottle caps. Love some bottle caps. I also have, my wife gave me 3 empty wooden spools, thread spools of different sizes, 3 different sizes. And I'd like to do something with those at some point. Yeah, coins, Silver Games asking about coins. I've got several coin videos. One of the very, very first videos I made was sorting a bunch of coins that belonged to my mom out of a little cedar box. So ASMR commenter says hello in the chat. Hello there. Thanks for being here. Oh, thanks for explaining your username. A small path through the forest, which comes from people trampling, or just walking that path over and over. Oh, Elise, talking about the rack for the thread spools. That sounds fantastic. I wish I had one of those. Those would be some great triggers. I really like this bowl of the filled with the Scrabble pieces, but I probably shouldn't have put so many in, because I'd like to keep it angled slightly so that you can see the tiles, but I'm afraid I'm going to dump them out. Yeah, I've been to Germany a couple of times, but not since the last time was when I was in middle school, because my mom was born there, as some of you might know from previous videos. And I tried to learn German. I took German in college. It was one of the first college classes I experienced as a freshman, and boy, it kicked my butt. I always thought it would be cool to, learn a little more proper German, since, my mom was from there, to kind of acknowledge and, honor her homeland and her culture. But it did not work out for me, I'm afraid. I took Spanish all through high school and then tried German in college, and ooh. How far back? Silver Games, how far back in your family do they, the immigrants were the immigrants? Is it your parents or grandparents? How far back does that go? Yep, these are nice. Cold Hunter asks about keyboard sounds. Yeah, that's crossed my mind actually. I've never really done anything with it, but yeah, I have thought about keyboard sounds video from time to time. 6 a.m. Yikes! So you're 5 hours ahead. That's the time zone in England, right? I think Europe is 6 hours ahead of me, and England is 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is a little bowl, Elise. It's a turned wood bowl. It was turned on a lathe. It's made of a wood called hackberry, I believe. And Cold Hunter, I'm glad the stream is doing you some good. I know you mentioned that you had some things bothering you, so I'm really Hey, insensitive hate mongers in the chat. Good to see you. Last I heard from you, insensitive hate monger, on the channel, was that you had like you were behind 3 videos because you were not getting notifications or something like that. Is that right? I hope you got caught up and enjoyed those last videos. Great grandfather was a Native American. Huh. timely manner. Does that mean you binged them? Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Yep, a lot of naps. Well, I appreciate that. $30K substream next week. Yeah. At the rate I'm going, I don't know that. I think I'll probably run out of things to say on the channel long before we get to any milestones like that. It is interesting, you know. I mean, it's so. There's so many variables at play, so many things that you can control, but I think so many things that you cannot really control that play into the growth that your channel is going to see. You know, my 2-year anniversary is next month, so in 2 years we've got 3,000 subs. Another guy that I know who started his channel within a month of me starting mine, he's got 50,000 subs in 2 years. GB, who we probably all know, she got to 1 million in 2 years, right? And that's fascinating to me, you know. I mean, every style of content has I think a different size market, and then personality plays into it, personal style, how professional or perhaps rustic, how conversational or casual or formal the content is. It all plays into it, you know. I tend to think that the downfall of a lot of small channels is just not being prepared, not having the right mindset for the very likely possibility or probability that they're not going to grow very fast. And I think that's kind of jarring for a lot of people, especially if they spend some time before they start their own channel watching some ASMR and seeing some channels really kind of blow up, you know. And it's very easy to say, hey, I can do that. But you have no idea what variables worked out for that channel that you saw blow up that might be working against you. And YouTube is littered with small channels that did 4 or 6 or a dozen videos, and then they just stopped and faded away. That makes you wonder, what kind of artist could they have been if they just stopped looking at their subscriber number and just created, you know, sometimes you have to have the patience for your audience to find you and realize that, you know what, you might not have as big an audience as that channel that you saw blow up. Not everybody gets 1 million subs. Not everybody gets 5,000 subs. I sometimes wonder if the next amazing kind of phenomena in ASMR content, we'll never know who they are because they tried it for a month and got frustrated and moved on to something else and never gave themselves a chance to really grow into the artist that they could have been. Sometimes I'm subscribed to several of these channels that kind of just started and then stopped. And some of them I really like because they showed some promise, Sometimes I'll post an encouraging comment on their last video just to see if they're still out there, see if they respond, see if they're interested in maybe picking it up again. But usually they're just gone. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. And, don't take these comments the wrong way. I'm not speaking from any sort of position of authority or experience or wisdom. I'm I'm just out here having fun. Making sounds into a microphone. Hanging out with a dozen friends. I'm so glad that Slight Sounds is still with us. I gotta give her props. If you haven't been to her channel, and the reason I really single this out is because Slight Sounds has gotten so much great mileage out of the good old inline microphone that sometimes come with the earbuds. If you go back to the Whisper Community videos, back when before the ASMR term was coined, when you had the Whisper Community and when head tingles were called whisper chills, you saw a lot of delightfully lo-fi videos. So many times those whispers were just over an image, a still background. And the whole focus of the videos from those days were on that whisper, the relaxing and triggering effects of a really compelling whisper tone. And Slight Sounds has so many videos where she's just using the inline mic in a pair of earbuds and creating just devastating ASMR with it. And it's such a wonderful example in this day of, everybody trying to, I don't know, it's like an arms race with microphones and noise reduction and making your video sound like it's, recorded in an anechoic chamber in this race for production value. It's a great example that, you know what? It's not about that. It's about what is your actual content? What are you offering? When you strip the technical side away, what is it you have to bring to the table from a content point of view, right? Because guess what? If the content is good, it doesn't matter what kind of mic you're talking into. That's probably an oversimplified and unpopular opinion, but just watch some of her videos where she uses that inline mic and see if you don't forget the whole technical side of it, right? Because it's not what it's about. No problem. It's the truth. Let's see if we can revisit our and thanks so much for continuing to hang out with me tonight, everybody. I appreciate it. Feel free to keep chatting it up. One moment. That old mute switch on the Yeti. You hear it clunk in one direction, but then not in the other direction. Oh, it's okay. Nobody cares. Hey, Silver Games, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Good luck with your eventual future in game design. I know you're still here. But you said you should probably go to bed, so that's probably pretty wise. Hope this is a 10-hour night shift. I did a 10-hour day at my work today as well, but it wasn't overnight. A guy that I work with, and we have some overlapping roles and responsibilities. He's leaving for 2 weeks beginning beginning Thursday, so I'm probably going to have several long days between now and then as I'm trying to cover all the various things that are going on. Adam Sisk is in the chat. Hello there, Adam. Thanks for being here. I don't have any cool fourth plans because I think most of my day is going to be uncovering more hardwood floors and pulling up more tack board in the front room of our house. Although I have to be careful because the 4th of July also happens to be my wife's birthday. And I don't think she'll be doing anything on the room renovation job tomorrow because of her birthday. So I shouldn't say that I'm doing nothing because I'm sure we'll do something birthday related of some sort. I will tell her happy birthday. Thanks for that, Silver. That's an interesting theory about female voice being inherently more relaxing. We've got maybe a dozen people here in the chat now. What are your feelings on that? Do you find that a female voice, by definition, is more relaxing or soothing or calming than a male voice? It would be interesting to hear from both, male and female viewers on that as well. I've seen plenty of, I've seen plenty of posts on places like Reddit where, viewers just categorically say, I don't watch male content creators. It's not my thing, just period, just as a blanket rule. And I don't know, how much of that is an actual relaxation thing or a, perceived intimacy thing. I don't know. I think I'm split pretty much down the middle on that. I mean, Dimitri, Adrian, Censor Addy from Poland. Both of those guys have amazing voices. Almost almost hypnotic, I would say. But then also someone like Ardra ASMR, I could listen to her all day as well. Yeah, I think pace and cadence do figure into it pretty big. Excuse me. I'm not paying much attention to my pace and cadence, for something like this live stream, because, we're just kind of hanging out. But, I know for me as a listener, the content is more effective if there is something altered about pace or cadence. It shouldn't just be straight conversational, right? There needs to be something different about it, little pauses or unexpected breaks in phrases and things like that, or different emphasis than you would get conversationally. That makes a big difference for me. Yeah, I'm mostly ASMR immune as well, unfortunately. Silver mentions low pitch. I know I tend to respond to that as well. If you're wearing headphones or earbuds and you're hearing a kind of a low, warm tone, it's kind of surrounds you, I guess, is a way to put it. Oh yeah, relaxing ASMR. One of my all-time favorites. Oh, I don't think Jared is in the chat anymore, but I just remembered the other answer to his question about another video that I was wanting to do, and it had to do a little bit with relaxing ASMR. He did a video on mechanical pencils recently, and I mentioned in a comment that, talking about the kind of pencil that I used in college, and he asked me if I still had any of my college mechanical pencils, and I looked for them. I poked my head in a couple of places here in the house and I couldn't find them, but I did find the plastic pouch that had my kind of the triangles and French curve and stuff, little drafting tools from a graphical communications class that I took my freshman year in college. And it made me think a neat video might be to use those tools to do some simple drawings of some shapes. If I could start with like an isometric drawing that I'd print off from the internet, and then I use the tools to draw the top and front and side elevation views of whatever the shape is. So it would have a lot of scribbling and manipulating the triangles and things like that, and drawing the lines and comparing back and forth from what I'm drawing to the drawing I started with, that kind of stuff. That might be a cool video. No, Adam, I have not seen the Mr. Rogers documentary yet. Have you? If you have, I'd like to know what you thought of it. Adam has seen the Mr. Rogers documentary. I bet it was amazing. What a manner he had, right? You got every impression that the way he was on his show was exactly how he was always with everyone. You had every impression that you were seeing his core personality every time he looked into the camera, every time he dealt with those kids, everything he said and did on that show. You just had the impression that he was just naturally that calm and centered, and I mean it was amazing. Yeah, it's definitely on my list to see, because I did, I was in that generation that, public television, the local public television station did show Mr. Rogers. I got to see it growing up. Got to see Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross. I wonder if Mr. Rogers is still being shown. It's kind of sad to think that there, might be generations coming up now that never really had a Mr. Rogers phase, right, or access to his work. Adam, since you have seen the documentary, I'm curious if there was anything in there that surprised you, or something that you didn't know that was interesting to learn about Mr. Rogers or the show. There was something just hypnotic about Mr. Rogers. We talk about pace and cadence, and I certainly don't think that he ever spent a second of thought thinking about his own pace and cadence, but his conversational style definitely had something just caught the ear, something in the way he just delivered, just always caught my ear, because it was a delivery and a tone of voice that I guess was different enough from the voices that I heard in my everyday life that aspect alone was enough to capture and hold my attention. Almost 2,000 episodes. what I really like from the glimpses that I saw in the trailer was some of the footage of the black and white days of the show. All of the shows that I saw when I was a kid were in color, but I really found that black and white footage with the even younger Mr. Rogers. I'd love to know more about the shows from those days. Wonder how Dimitri would handle something like this piece of plastic here. Makes me think I need to go back and watch some of his Silver Soap videos again. The other fun thing about, Dimitri's style that I love is that, certainly for his sound exploration videos, he would position his mics just outside of frame on the left and the right, and when he would hold, his trigger up to the mic, he would then also put his ear close to the trigger as well. So you had the mic on one side and you had his ear on the other, like he wanted to hear very closely what the mic was hearing, and he did that by putting his head down close to the sound that he was making. And for me, that kind of draws me in even more, because it's like he's paying very close attention to the small details of the sounds that he's making, and you feel compelled to pay that much attention as well. So it really pulls you in as a listener and gets you kind of hyper focused on those very, very small sounds. Yeah. No, silver, I have not done traditional, small cell bubble wrap. That would be a good thing to kind of test drive on a stream like this to see how I get along with it. Because I don't feel like I'm really manipulating this plastic even very well. Nothing. This little paper is just so much easier to. It's just kind of sharper. The subtle. I guess with the plastic kind of sounds like it's a constant wash of the crinkles, whereas the small paper one is just a little more satisfying, I think. Yes, bubble wrap for next stream. We'll see about making that happen. Although I'm a little gun shy about the setup from before. I wonder what was going wrong. I will probably wrap things up tonight, probably in the next 10 minutes or so. We'll probably call it at the top of the hour. How's that sound? Thanks a lot for hanging out with me tonight. How about you guys? Do you have any interesting plans for tomorrow? If you're in the U.S. and you have the holiday off? You're very welcome, Elise. I appreciate you being here. I don't think I've seen you on a stream before. Do you mind my asking, Elise, what part of the world you are from? It's always fascinating to kind of get a glimpse of the international reach of even a small channel like mine. I think the tea bag is the winner from tonight. Okay. From Texas, but you're abroad. Okay. Is that for, are you abroad for work or vacation? Sounds fun and exciting. Thanks, Silver. I appreciate it. I think I'll finish with some last fidgeting with the this was unexpectedly satisfying. I think this is going to have to go on the video idea list. Oh, good for you, Elise. Hope you're enjoying your vacation. I'll be taking a week off from work later in July, getting up to the state of Michigan for a week. Looking forward to that, as you can imagine.